So to kick things off, I guess we should start with the basics.
Yeah, definitely.
Where did this whole simulation idea come from? Like, is this just a modern sci-fi trope, or does it have deeper roots?
Well, the idea of questioning the nature of reality, that goes way, way back, like ancient philosophers debating whether our senses can really be trusted.
Right, so like, what if everything we see and hear is just an illusion?
Exactly. But the modern simulation hypothesis, the one that's really captured the imagination lately, that's a bit more specific. It's the idea that our reality, like the whole universe, could actually be a super advanced computer program.
Whoa.
Proponents of the simulation hypothesis, they do point to some things that, make you think twice. Like, just look at the insane pace of technological advancements.
Yeah, like, virtual reality is getting pretty crazy these days.
Exactly. We're already creating these immersive digital worlds, so is it really that far-fetched to think that someone or something could create an entire simulated universe?
But is there anything beyond just our own technological progress that suggests we might be living in a simulation?
Yeah, actually, there are a few other things that people point to. Like in physics, there's this phenomenon called the observer effect in quantum mechanics, which basically says that the act of observing a particle can actually influence its behavior.
Wait, so like just by looking at something, we're changing it. That's bizarre.
It is super weird, and it's led some people to speculate that maybe our consciousness is somehow interacting with the fabric of reality in a way that we don't fully understand.
So it's like reality is literally responding to our thoughts.
In a way, yeah. And some see this as a potential sign that our reality might be more malleable than we think, maybe even coded like a simulation. Here's a thought to start us off. What if the most basic unit of life, the cell, isn't just like a simple building block?
What if it's something much more intelligent?
Exactly. Maybe even the architect of the reality you perceive.
That's a pretty wild idea.
It is.
Perhaps it's time to admit that the reality of your body is in fact a simulation accomplished by the living cell. The structure of the human body, with its arms and legs, is, upon close inspection, nothing more than the living cell repeated at various levels of magnification. Your perception of reality is a fractal, a simulation that exhibits self-similarity across different scales. Perhaps it's also time to admit that the living cell is far more intelligent than modern science.
Okay, let's jump into the core concept then. The cell as superintelligence.
Yeah, the central idea is really fascinating. It posits that the living cell shows a form of intelligence that's just beyond our current human understanding.
Beyond our technology, too.
Absolutely. It suggests there's this intrinsic self-organizing intelligence baked into biological systems.
It definitely pushes how we define intelligence, doesn't it? Usually we think brains, maybe AI.
But this is different. When we talk about biological intelligence at this level, some researchers point to amazing examples.
Like slime molds. I find this fascinating.
Exactly. Single-celled organisms, yet they can solve complex mazes to find food.
All without a brain or anything like one.
It's incredible. How does a microscopic blob essentially figure things out?
Makes you think. And then there's the systems biology angle, right?
Right. Life isn't just about one cell doing its thing. It emerges from these incredibly complex interactions between cells.
So the intelligence isn't just in one part, maybe.
Possibly. It might reside in the system as a whole, almost like a collective awareness emerging from the network.
Which leads to some pretty deep philosophical territory, like panpsychism.
Precisely. Or biopsychism. These are views suggesting consciousness, or maybe a simpler form, proto-consciousness, isn't something that just pops up in brains.
But it's fundamental, maybe even down to the level of matter itself, or at least biological matter.
That's the idea. That awareness, in some basic form, could be present right down at the cellular level.
So the cell might not just be complex machinery.
It could be a node of awareness, processing information in ways we just don't understand yet.
It really challenges our standard definitions of what's smart. It's not just about computation as we know it.
Exactly. Which brings us to a really intriguing point. Why can't we build one from scratch?
Right. Despite all the advances in synthetic biology, we haven't made a truly autonomous, self-replicating cell from, non-living stuff.
And this theory takes that failure, that gap, as evidence. Evidence for the cell's superior inherent intelligence.
It's a strong point. I mean, the implication is pretty stark. The living cell has a complexity and intelligence that our science just can't mirror yet.
We've tried, haven't we? There are efforts like creating minimal synthetic cells. GCVI Syn 3.0, for example.
Yeah, but even those, they still need parts from existing life, right? Like pre-existing DNA. They don't just assemble themselves from basic chemicals.
No, they don't arise spontaneously from abiotic chemistry. And it's just for relatively simple cells.
Imagine trying to build one of our cells, a eukaryotic cell, with all its intricate parts.
The complexity is just orders of magnitude higher. It feels almost insurmountable right now.
And this difficulty, it bumps up against some old debates, doesn't it? Like vitalism.
It does. Historically, you had this idea of vitalism, that life needed some special non-material spark. Modern science mostly moved past that.
But the fact remains, we can't create life de novo. There's still a gap.
A big gap. It also touches on concepts like irreducible complexity, the idea that some systems need all their parts at once to work. Makes building them bottom up incredibly hard.
It really makes you stop and think, if we can't replicate something that nature does routinely.
Maybe we're dealing with an intelligence, or at least a design principle, that's genuinely beyond our current grasp.
Okay, so if the cell is this superintelligent entity we can't even build, where does the theory go next?
Well, this is where it gets really ambitious. The idea is the cell isn't just intelligent within reality.
Uh-oh.
It might be constructing reality, simulating it maybe, like a biological computer running the universe.
Wow. Okay, so simulation theory, but biological, not digital.
Exactly. It's a fascinating twist on Nick Bostrom's idea. Instead of computers, it's life itself, the cell. That's the foundation of the simulation.
How would that even work?
Well, it connects to ideas like fractal cosmology. You see these self-similar patterns repeating across scales in nature.
From tiny cells up to galaxies.
Potentially, yes. Suggesting a kind of recursive, maybe holographic structure to reality, like nested layers of information.
And does this connect to other theories, like Lanza's biocentrism?
It certainly resonates with it. Biocentrism suggests life creates the universe, not the other way around. This theory gives a potential mechanism, maybe, the cell, as the fundamental constructor.
It flips everything. The universe isn't a machine that accidentally produced life.
It's more like a living organism itself.
Yeah.
And the cell is its sentient building block, maybe even writing the code of existence as it goes.
That's a huge paradigm shift from the standard, materialist view.
It really is. So how can we start to see hints of this? The theory offers some proofs or lines of reasoning.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first one?
It starts right at our own beginning.
Yeah.
Every single human being starts as one cell, the zygote.
The fertilized egg. That's biology 101.
Right, but think about the implication, the absolute primacy of the cell in our individual existence. That single cell contains everything.
The whole genetic blueprint, yes, and the instructions to build a whole person.
Exactly. It's not just the blueprint. It has the capacity to orchestrate the entire complex development. It's the architect.
So the theory sees the cell as the literal author of you, of me.
In a sense, yes. It's like a singularity point. It holds not just the DNA, but the potential for the mind, memory, everything that makes us up.
The zygote as the command center.
The blueprint, the command center, the architect, all wrapped up in one microscopic package.
Okay, that's compelling. What's the second proof?
It builds directly on the first. It suggests the human body itself, the macro-level structure, is a reflection of the micro-level cellular organization, like a large-scale fractal.
A fractal framework, so like patterns repeating.
Exactly. Think about fractal patterns in biology. Your lungs, the way they branch.
Or the circulatory system, blood vessels branching smaller and smaller.
Precisely. Neural networks, too. These self-similar designs repeating across different scales. It suggests a deep underlying organizing principle.
So our body, made of trillions of cells working together.
But each functioning semi-autonomously, yet in harmony.
It's like a distributed system, a biological simulation.
That's the analogy. And it connects to those broader ideas, like Haramein's holofractographic universe theory.
The idea that the whole universe is holographic and each part contains the whole.
Something like that. Our bodies could be a microcosm of that principle, with the cell as the fundamental unit containing the core information or organizing logic.
Wow. So each organ, each limb, even our thoughts,
could be seen as scaled-up expressions of the same organizing principles operating within the cell itself. It's a pretty deep thought.
It really is. Okay, what's proof number 3?
This one relates to danger, risk, and resilience. The idea is when your body faces a threat.
Like injury or disease?
Yes. The living cell is actually the first thing at risk. Its central role is highlighted when survival is on the line.
Implying it's foundational to the whole system or the simulation in this view.
That's the interpretation. Think about cellular damage. It underlies almost everything negative. Trauma, disease, aging.
And cells react, right? They have defense mechanisms.
Incredibly sophisticated ones.
Yeah.
Autophagy, where they clean house. DNA repair mechanisms. Even in apoptosis, program cell death to sacrifice themselves for the good of the whole organism.
And they often do this before we even feel sick.
Often long before the organism shows macroscopic symptoms. It shows this proactive intelligence, this frontline defense role.
Like tiny sentinels guarding our existence.
Exactly. Even down to the mitochondria, the powerhouses in the cells. They respond to stress. They influence our mood or behavior, even evolution.
So they're not just passive engines.
Not at all. The theory suggests cells are like sentinels, interpreting danger and initiating responses before our conscious mind is even aware. A fundamental awareness.
Okay, this is building a compelling case. Where does it go from here?
It scales up dramatically.
Oh.
The theory elevates the cell beyond just being microscopic. It suggests the cell might be linked to cosmic processes, describing it as a kind of mega-organism.
A mega-organism.
Or even representing the metabolism of the universe as a whole, linking the very small to the very large.
That sounds a bit like the Gaia hypothesis. Earth as a living system?
It definitely connects to ideas like Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis, where Earth self-regulates through biological processes.
Yeah.
But this theory takes it much further.
Beyond Earth, to the cosmos.
Yes. It even touches on speculative ideas like Q-life or quantum life, which proposes life-like phenomena might occur at quantum or cosmic scales based on fundamental physics.
So the universe itself could be seen as renabolic, self-sustaining.
Possibly.
Yeah.
A fast living system,
Yeah.
maybe. And cells are the smallest viable units of that universal life.
That really stretches the mind. The cell is both the smallest unit and somehow connected to the largest scales.
As the source puts it, the cell may be both the smallest expression of life and the largest interwoven with the fabric of the universe itself.
Wow, okay. Is there a final piece to this framework?
Yes, a really profound one. The idea that life fundamentally cannot be destroyed.
Eternal life.
Not necessarily in a personal sense, but that the essence of life persists. It only changes form and composition. It aligns with many spiritual or metaphysical views, but also some scientific concepts.
Like conservation of energy.
Exactly. If life is a form of energy or information, perhaps it follows similar laws it transforms, but isn't truly extinguished.
It just gets rearranged.
For centuries, we have defined life through certain criteria: growth, reproduction, and response to stimuli. But what happens when cells die? Recent studies have revealed surprising activity even after cell death, challenging our previous understanding. Researchers now propose a newly identified third state of life that exists immediately after cellular death. Researchers have found that some cells form new multicellular structures with functions that defy their original biological roles even long after the organism they once belonged to has died. They call this the third state, a phenomenon that walks the fine line between life and death. Leading this groundbreaking research are teams of scientists dedicated to understanding this phenomenon. Using advanced imaging techniques, researchers have been able to observe this previously hidden phase of life.
And think about cosmic ancestry or panspermia, the idea that life might be ancient, eternal, seeded throughout the cosmos.
Traveling on comets or meteorites.
Perhaps, in that view, every cell in your body carries genetic material, information passed down through an unbroken chain stretching back billions of years.
So life itself is a constant.
It could be. The theory suggests life may be the one constant in a universe of change, an eternal flame passed from cell to cell across eons.
What an incredible perspective. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We really have. It's a theory that pulls together biology, consciousness, cosmology, metaphysics.
And paints this radical picture. The cell isn't just alive, it's aware. It doesn't just replicate, it computes, decides, remembers.
It doesn't just exist. It might be dreaming our world into being.
It completely challenges that old mechanistic view of life, doesn't it?
Fundamentally, it invites you, the listener, to consider a living universe, one where intelligence isn't just something that happens in complex brains.
But is maybe a basic feature of nature itself, right down at the cellular level.
That's the provocative idea.
So what does this all mean for you listening now? If cells really are the programmers, is DNA their code?
Is evolution their algorithm for improvement? Are mutations a form of debugging?
And here's a final thought to leave you with. Forget us creating AI simulations.
What if cells created us as their simulations?
That is a truly bold vision. It could completely redefine life's place, our place, in the universe.
The discovery that cells of a deceased organism can continue to function post-mortem may redefine our understanding of life and consciousness itself, pushing the boundaries of what we know. The implications for medicine and biotechnology are vast, potentially leading to breakthroughs in resurrection science and preservation. Yet with these discoveries come ethical dilemmas surrounding the very nature of life and death. This groundbreaking finding of a liminal biological condition that exists between life and death opens new avenues for exploration and raises questions about our existence.
So, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we are living in a simulation. What does that even mean for us? Like, what are the implications?
Oh man, that's where things get really deep, like philosophically speaking.